No mai haere mai, welcome to our session. Mia and I will be talking about the Analytics and Research in Government Internship and Graduate Program. Ko alitaho taku ingoa, ko te kaitohu hāpai o mā tāmoa o te tari o te Moaki Tuatoru, te punamohi o tanga, te pai aronoi I te tahu o te mātauranga. Kia ora, my name is Alita Ho. I am a Senior Business Advisor at the Ministry of Education. I am also one of 13 agencies involved in the Analytics and Research in Government Internship Program. It is a 12-week internship program that is held over from November to February. And what it enables us to do is to get university students into our agencies to work on data, so working with numbers. The group that I belong to at the Ministry of Education is Evidence, Data and Knowledge Group. This is where we have analysts, researchers and evaluators. We provide the evidence to support any funding or initiatives that are allocated for our akonga and our whānau and our students in the education sector. And this internship program and the graduate program enables the interns and graduates to come in and work within our agencies, looking at and working with data. So for example, here at the Ministry of Education, we have a data and iwi data dashboard, and that enables you to access information about our iwi hapu whānau that are within the education sector at all levels. We also work very closely with Stats New Zealand, who is also one of the 13 agencies within the graduate program, as well as the internship program. Now, the graduate program is a 12-month program, of which it has currently 5 agencies that are involved in this. We do have a presentation that we could show, but I tend to very kaupapa Māori kōrero toa. So I'm quite happy to show the presentation and just have it roll and flick through it. But I think more importantly, I'd like to pass this over to Mia. And Mia, if you could kōrero and introduce yourself, that would be awesome.
Kia ora, thank you, Alita. Whawhetai, mole awanoa, talofa, malo le soifua, male langi, and mama, ola oingo o mea whaiumu. Kia ora tātou, ko vaia te maunga, ko te moana nui a kiwa, te moana no Samoa me Lithuania o ko tipuna. No te whanganui a tāra hau ko whaiumu tuku whānau ko mea tuku ingoa. Kia ora, talofa everybody. I have recently finished doing the ARG internship with the Ministry of Social Development over the past summer, which was a 12-week program. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a great program, a lot of development, career development opportunities. I was placed within the research and evaluation team. So while ARG more generally is quite quantitative and focused on data, there are some qualitative opportunities for more research focused projects. So I studied criminology and sociology. So for those of you who have done BA subjects or something similar, there are heaps of opportunities with us, with ARG, to do those things. So I worked on a evidence brief that was looking at what services are most effective for victims/survivors of family violence, and going through literature reviews. And yeah, essentially finding out what evidence was out there that supported, that could support the way that MSD procure their family violence services. So it was a really, really interesting, quite heavy at times, but very interesting project. And yeah, so you do a lot of I did a lot of research, and then at the end of the program, a lot of presentations to different stakeholders across the ministry, but also to the ARG cohort who are across different agencies as well, and a lot of socializing with all the different interns, which was really great, even in COVID times. We managed to do a lot of teams and also meeting up at lunch times and using group chats and things like that. So it's very social, and you meet a lot of people across the public sector that will be friends for life. Yeah, kia ora.
The other thing I'd like to talk about is when some key dates. So key dates of, like what I talked about is we do have the internship program from the 21st of November till Friday the 10th of February. So, and during that period, our agencies tend to shut down over Christmas, New Year's break for 2 weeks. And we always make sure that our interns are supported for those of us that may be on extended holidays, that you do know what you're doing, that you have a buddy, that you have a mentor, that you have someone to go to, even if your key people are not there. We make sure that we ensure our interns' haurewa and wellbeing is upheld. That's extremely important for us, especially being Māori myself. It is all about working in and living and breathing in a kaupapa Māori way, making sure that our kaupapa is Māori to Manaki, to Kaitiaki, to Aroha, each other, you know, and it's that whanaungatanga that we have as Māori and Pacific that enables our students to feel that they're recognised, that they're valued, and that there's someone there to support them. And, you know, so I usually look after 3 interns here at the Ministry of Education. One usually comes from the Analytics and Research and Government Internship Program, and my agency also is involved in the TupuToa Summer Internship Program. So I become their fire, their buddy for everything. So, you know, I make sure that from the time they come to us, and even prior to the actual starting date, that I connect with them, that they're ka pai, you know, that when they actually come into the office on their first day, that I go and greet them downstairs, bring them up, make them part of the whānau, make sure that they're all set up, because all of that is really important to make sure that we feel connected with each other and that you are there as part of our team. And so every single intern that our ministry has been involved in this internship program, which has now been 4 years, I still keep in touch with via LinkedIn or texting or emails. I send opportunities of what's happening not only within my agency, but within our fellow agencies involved in the internship program. The graduate program is very new, but they are up to their 2nd year of cohorts. And there are 10 spaces, as I understand it, where they can take into these 5 agencies that are involved. There is a bit of training and development opportunities that Mia talked about. So whether it's problem solving workshops or project planning, systems training for those who are analysts or researchers or studying certain topics like mathematics. I'll be honest, that's not me. I am business in my building, in my role. I do recruitment. So I get people into our agency, I write job descriptions. So it's kind of like that HR, kind of like recruitment space. I write contracts. So I am the IT, you know, anything that you can think about in relation to business, that's me. But I do understand the importance of data and numbers and research and evaluation, because that is the information that supports why funding should go somewhere, what difference we're actually going to make. For Māori and Pacific, especially in the education space, you will always see negative numbers, unfortunately, because they are what we consider here at the Ministry of Education, our priority learners. our people, both Māori and Pacific, are not doing as well as other ethnic groups. But what is the Ministry of Education and what are our government doing to actually support and ensure that we have the funding, we have our people, our iwi hapu whānau, Polynesian whānau, have the support that our students, both children, early childhood, students at primary and secondary, and our tertiary students, as well as adult students, have what they need to get the education that they need for where they want to go when they go out into the workforce, or as part of the education career pathway. So this internship program, I love it. I love the graduate program because the reality is this: I have some wonderful people here at the Ministry of Education, and I'll give you a stats number. We have 650 to 700 people in my group. Of that group, we only have up to 20 Māori. And of that 20 Māori, we have 6 tāne Māori. 5 of them sit in my group, my smaller group of 150 staff. We have some wonderful people who use analytics, analysis, research and evaluative methodologies when they look at our information, our numbers, our data, with their identity, language, culture and lived experience, meaning tauiwi. So many of my people who are fantastic at what they do, they generally don't think further than the number that they see. Whereas Māori and Pacific will usually question and think, why is that number so high? Why are so many of our kids not going to school? What is the story around so many of our students, Māori students, being stood down or expelled? So, you know, I talk to a lot of my nieces and nephews who want to come into policy and make a difference. Policy people who create the rules or policies use the evidence and data from us to support their policy. We are the evidence that they use as to why this policy should be written. We need more Māori and Pacific in areas like this, and our graduate and internship program is a great way to get them up. So is there any questions, or have you got anything else to say, Mia?
No, I don't have any points. I saw there was some questions though. Oh, actually, I think if we wanted to speak to the fast tracking process for Māori and Pacific applicants with ARG.
Oh, yes. So the fast tracking process. Well, I'll be honest, I called in, I know that I was one of the first on the ARG program that when I put in requisitions from my agency for an intern, I specifically asked for Māori and Pacific. Māori because of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, and Pacific because, again, it's around our numbers of our Māori and Pacific students that are not doing well. So what I would suggest is if you go online to the ilovedata.org.nz, it has all this information which we could talk to. The presentation, which I'm not really a great fan of, has 19 slides. You usually lose me after 5, and that's including the front and the end page. So I thought, should I actually show you guys the slide, or should I do what we normally do as Māori and just cope up a Māori and kōrero? That is the way that I usually roll, which me has heard lately in the last couple of weeks since we've met online. So Yeah, so ilovedata.org.nz. I'm very happy to ensure that my contact details are available if you'd like me to send the presentation to you. So it has more information, but our website specifically for this internship program has everything that you need. There are a couple of the video clips are actually of a couple of the interns that ended up working within my team. You know, one, Isaac was, he came when we first came into this ARG space 4 years ago. He was our first intern. He was amazing. He went back to Auckland University, but because of him, we deliberately created an assistant analyst role within my office, within my actual office team, because we recognised that we actually needed opportunities for our graduates, our Māori and Pacific graduates, to come into our area of expertise. It is very small, and not only within our agency, but across all agencies, both government as well as private. Has that answered the question? Possibly not, but there is a lot of information that I can share with you and I can answer directly. I think our details are going to be shared, or some contact details of who you could actually contact. Is that correct, Taylor? Sorry, chucking you under the bus because
it's all good. I'm here on standby, so all good. Feel free to just like post your like LinkedIn or email in the chat if you want. If people, I see, I think it's Kyle who asked a couple questions as well, or Kay Anderson. So yeah, feel free to answer those offline if you want.
Can they take their mutes off and ask us?
No,
if they'd
unfortunately,
like?
it's just in the chat. No.
Yeah, in the chat.
Yeah. There was a couple that came through, but in the interest of time, we might have to go on to the next presenter. But as I said, feel free to just type in the chat bar your email, or as I said, your LinkedIn as well, and assume it's okay with yourselves. They can perhaps ask some of those questions through LinkedIn or email.
Oh, yeah, you can share my email and they can contact me directly. I can answer, but I am very conscious and aware of the time for the next presenter.
Awesome. Cool. We might have to leave it there, but thank you so much for today's session. Again, great presentation, super valuable, and looks like some of these students have some interest through these questions as well. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. And